It's time for Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, a podcast for people who love chickens.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Chrisie&Holly from Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. We're here, and this is episode number 284 of our podcast, where we talk about everything chicken, family, fun, and
more chickens.
More chickens. We drink a ton of coffee. I'm talking a ton, but most importantly,
we hug chickens, ducks, and geese every day.
And we kiss them too, don't forget. We brew coffee from a little coffee house here in Maryland. Holly Ann, what kind of coffee are we brewing today?
French vanilla.
You can't go wrong with French vanilla. That's for sure.
Delicious.
It's so yummy. And if you mix in some like really good creamer, it's good too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So, are you ready to sip some of this delicious French vanilla coffee and chat?
I am, but first, a word from our sponsors.
We have some exciting news to share from our sponsor, Grubbly Farms. They're here, new and improved, Grubbly's World Harvest.
I'm a longtime subscriber, and my flock love the healthy, nutritious treats, plus orders $40 and more ship free.
If you haven't heard, Grubbly's has a fantastic layer pellet and crumble feed. It's packed with plant and insect protein, perfect for those picky chickens and ducks.
Grubbly Farms makes food and treats for healthy pets and planet.
To support us and Grubbly Farms, use the link grubbly.co/coffee. Try it today. Okie dokie. Here we are. It's sunny, beautiful. It's a great day. It's a little chilly, just how I like it. Like, just tiny bit chilly.
Yes. Where it still actually feels like spring a bit. Yeah, me too.
So all in the span of 1 week, we had the AC on, the AC off. No, the heat on, the heat off, the AC on, then the heat back on.
Yeah, yeah.
And now upstairs in our house has nothing on, and the downstairs for my parents has the heat on. So we're all kind of mixed up.
It's a shame because today is the perfect day to have the windows wide open.
The windows are open up here, but not downstairs.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's been a mix-up of weather. But that brings me to a little story. You were laughing at me the other day because that dang dark squirrel attacked my new kale plants.
I thought you were going to save that for when we talk about kale in an upcoming episode.
Oh, I can't. I'm still hot under the collar, this girl.
There is nothing more frustrating than planting something and having the wildlife come and eat it too.
Okay, so it was there. I had a regular kale plant and a purple kale plant, and they were gorgeous. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna let these grow up, and then I'm not gonna have to buy kale. And I also planted basil and marigolds because those are the things I love, right?
Right.
Between the frost of 30 degrees and the dang squirrel.
That wasn't just a frost. That was actually a hard freeze that we got.
It was
much later than usual. Yeah. I was out there with thick sheets covering my apple trees, and they seem to have made it, but we have, that gigantic, gorgeous flame azalea that we have next to the deck?
Yeah.
The entire top third of that had started to open, and now it's just dead. Like, the entire top third of the tree is these frost-zapped, ugly brown flowers.
So my basil did not make it. It's wilted, like it got really dark. And it's still planted, but I'm like, I don't have hopes for it.
It's done. If it froze, it's done.
So after I planted all these marigolds, the dang squirrel got in there the night I did it. And you just see these little footprints, and they're digging up the marigolds. And I'm like, squirrel, if I catch you, you're going to
Brunswick stew. Or not.
Then the marigolds made it through that, but then the frost got them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they looked pitiful.
Luckily, the wonderful Michelle Brune from Forks in the Dirt sent us a bunch of marigold seeds. I think it's tangerine little gems. So I'm starting a bunch of them for both of us.
I cannot wait because now my little planter that was looking so good is looking bad. I mean,
a little barren.
The kale is still planted and the tops of the kale is just gone.
The kale might come back though. I've had bunnies eat my kale to the ground. That's before I started growing it in a raised bed. So the kale might come back for you, but the basil is done. That's gone.
I knew it had to be the squirrel because it's in a wine barrel, so it's something that had to jump.
I had to jump up there. Yeah, yeah. And we know it wasn't a chicken, so yes.
And every morning I come out and that dark squirrel is looking at me either from on top of the barn or the runs. And I'm like, you better get out of my sight, squirrel.
That's probably nicer than what you really say. We are deep in gardening season and I love it, love it, love it. This is my happy time, as you know. So
it's not my happy time when the squirrel eats my stuff.
No. Sheep and Wool Festival was this past weekend, which was super duper fun. I love going to Sheep and Wool. I always see the Mount Vernon folks there with the Hog Island sheep. And it's Jeanette Behringer's often there. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I stocked up on cotton plants. So I've got a lot of cotton to plant now.
When are you going to take that cotton and make me a cotton t-shirt?
I have plenty of raw cotton. It has to be ginned, right? You have to take the seeds out and then I have to card it and then I have to spin it. So your cotton t-shirt is way down on the list.
100% cotton.
100% homegrown cotton.
Everything growing up, like it was like you would buy something and it'd be like, well, is that 100% cotton? I don't know. Is it?
Speaking of growing up, I just want to say this on the show because it was so nice. Your mom gave me a gift the other day.
She did.
Because she found out that growing up, I never had a real Cabbage Patch Kid because my mom refused to buy. I remember my mom saying, I'm not paying $25 for that. So your mom
meanwhile, I had my mom was addicted more than I was. I had 20 of them, something like that, because my mom liked them.
She did eventually get us the knockoffs, and they actually were pretty good knockoffs, but they always smelled kind of weird and plasticky. And I mean, they came in a clear plastic bag, and she got them somewhere weird, like the grocery store or Rite Aid. I don't remember. Anyway, your mom made me this adorable. She refurbished a vintage 1985 little red-headed Cabbage Patch Kid. Mm-hmm. So I have Scarlet Annabelle. Thank you, Miss Jackie. That was really touching. It was really nice of her.
She went and she's been going to the thrift store with me, right? And she found that one, and then she washed the hair, everything. It took her hours and hours to refurbish it. And then she redid an outfit. She ordered shoes on eBay for it.
Aww.
She went all out. And we have to go back because when we were traveling, Holly Ann would stay over for the night before we would fly out because I'm closer to the airport. And my parents are living here now for a while. And my mom's redoing all these old Cabbage Patch Kids. Mm-hmm. So she comes over to Holly and she asks her, I can't remember. Did you have it or not? And she said to my dad, Bob, pass this over to Holly and let her hold this Cabbage Patch.
Because I'd never had, I'm sure I held yours, but yeah.
And then afterwards, she said, I'm going to make her one. I'm going to refurbish her one.
That is so sweet. I'm really touched by that. And I love her. She's adorable. But it also got me remembering, having the knockoffs as a kid. But Mom, because remember, I'm from a horsey family. Mom bought us the actual Cabbage Patch Kid horse, the show pony. So we had that with our knockoff Cabbage Patch Kids.
I had the pony too. But I'm trying to think there was a name because I had the knockoff one too. It was like Flower
Box.
Kids.
I think they were called Flower Box Kids.
It was something. And I bet you at this point in time, they're worth something too.
I'm sure they are too. I have no idea. I need to go to the farm and find our old toy box and see if there's any in there. Along with the Breyer horses and My Little Ponies.
Oh, yeah. Your My Little Pony village was to die for, though, in the basement.
Oh, it was a whole spread. It was a whole room filled with My Little Pony.
It was. And on that note, if you're listening to our show and you're loving it, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a written review. We both want to thank Desi N for leaving her review this week about her boyfriend wanting chickens and finding us, and now they're married with 19 chickens. It all works out in the end.
It is the best story. I love it.
We love that review.
We're going to start reading reviews at the end of the show, I think. So, leave us a review and it might be on the show.
No, it can't be one like you hate us or something, because then we won't read that one.
Leave us if you we might, but that won't go well because we'll be laughing the whole time. And that would just become sport.
If you're there, hit that subscribe button because you never want to miss any Cabbage Patch talk on a chicken show.
Of course we did. We brought it back to Cowgirls at least.
I saw this thing though today on a meme, and I'm going to ask you before we move on. It said, if you had a choice of being Millennial, Gen Z, or Gen X? What would you take? And I know
Gen
my
X.
answer. Gen X all the way.
All the way. Yeah. If you're looking for other ways to help support the show, you can tell a few chicken, duck, goose, or Cabbage Patch loving friends about us.
Exactly.
You can share your favorite episodes on social media. You can become a patron of the show, patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. If you're one of our patrons and you want to tell a Cabbage Patch story, please load it up for everyone to see.
We actually have a chicken Cabbage Patch in our studio.
Yes, we do. That's right, we do. Yeah, we do. There are two more ways that you can help this show. The first is buy our book. It is available for pre-order, The Chicken Lady's Guide to Life with Chickens, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And the other thing you can do to help the show is visit our website and our show notes, use our affiliate links and discount codes, and buy products from our sponsors.
Yay! You know what I love when it's 95 degrees outside?
Being inside.
Well, that too, but I really love cleaning my igloo chicken coop.
Yeah, it is so easy to clean. You don't have to break a sweat.
And you can use a water hose or pressure washer, so it doubles as a cool down. I also love those run covers.
Oh man, the shade is superb. I go into the run to cool off.
Yep, my flock's covered during the heat of the day, just chillin'.
Meanwhile, we're melting on the patio. Seriously, can we get in on this amazing coop design for ourselves?
They're out there living the dream.
So when it's pushing 100 degrees, the right setup matters.
That's why we choose an igloo.
Get your girls their own just in time for summer.
Search Omelette. That's OMLET.
The Breed Spotlight is brought to you by Murray McMurray Hatchery, defining quality for generations. For over a century, Murray McMurray Hatchery has remained a trusted family-owned business, working tirelessly to ensure our poultry meet the highest standards. Whether you are an experienced enthusiast or just embarking on the journey, look to McMurray Hatchery for guaranteed quality, rare and heritage breeds, low minimums, and all the supplies you need to raise your flock. Request a free catalog today.
Why, pardon me, ma'am. Can you pass me the gray poupon and
But
a
of
napkin?
course.
But how about a little napkin? Can you pass me a napkin, please?
Oh, you mean Nankin. You could wipe your mouth on your Nankin, but that's probably not going to go over very well.
It's time for this week's Breed Spotlight.
We're profiling
Yeah.
the Nankin Bantam.
Sometimes you got nothing, so you got to come up with something.
Right? I mean, I applaud you for...
So I call them the napkin chicken because they could be a napkin. They're so little.
You call them the napkin chicken because every time you type Nankin, autocorrect changes it to napkin.
They're like, there is no word called
There's
the
such thing as a Nankin. It's a napkin. The ridiculously adorable Nankin is an extraordinarily old breed of chicken. They are true bantams, meaning that they do not have a large breed counterpart. And after several years, and maybe even decades, of being in the critically endangered category, they are currently listed as threatened by the Livestock Conservancy.
Way to go, Holly Ann. You did that.
Yes. Right now, I have 2 hens. So I got to tell you, there's not a lot of breeding action happening over here. I need to get some more hens.
You also have an entire bachelor flock of them, though.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of genetics on the male side on this place. But I need more hens.
I think
Dr.
you moved
Rebecca-
them out of that category. I think you single-handedly did that.
No, Dr. Rebecca has another client who actually keeps Nankins. And she said, she asked Dr. Rebecca to ask me if I had any hens I would part with. And I was like, nope. Got a lot of roosters, though.
Do you need a roux?
Plenty of roos. Okay. Nankins are, they're one of my favorites. They are lovely, friendly little birds. They chat all the time. They're very talky. They love to forage. They like to scratch for bugs, but they also handle confinement relatively well. They don't need a gigantic run. An aviary style is best, but you don't want it too tiny, but they do pretty well with confinement.
When you're 1 pound, like an area that a big chicken would be like, this is like, oh, this is horrible, man.
You're like, this is the size of Arizona.
Yeah, the Nankin comes in, they're like, I can deal. This is
Right?
great.
This is fine. So the Nankin obviously is perfect for chicken keepers with limited space. We're about to tell you all the great things about them. I don't understand why there is not more of a demand for them. They're not readily available, and that's always the first problem.
Always.
But put that demand out there and breeders will come through for you.
We're learning with other chickens as we have pressed on and put some demand out there and said, look, we need to save this chicken. And we put some knowledge out there that people have taken to it. So we need somebody that's listening out there now.
These are, I know this is an old-fashioned word, but these are the most charming little chickens ever. They're also really healthy and hardy, so they make fantastic pets.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Purse chickens.
Purse chickens for sure. General George Washington with his little head sticking out crowing. Nankins were originally known as yellow bantams, and they were found in England many hundreds of years ago. According to the Livestock Conservancy, there is evidence that Nankins were in England before the 1500s, and some of them may have even been there earlier. Sometime during the 18th or 19th centuries, people began referring to the yellow bantam as Nankin. Nankin is a corruption of Nanking, so it's believed that the Nankin may have originated specifically in China. That's a pretty good guess. There's also a link between the bantam, and I always have to talk about this because I think it's neat. A link between the bantam and a cotton cloth that's produced in China.
There you go. There's your cotton.
That's right. And I am growing it this year. So Nankin, the word Nankin cotton, it's probably another corruption of Nanjing, but it's a short stapled, like yellowy brown cotton that was grown in China. It was used to make the traditional Nankin trousers. If you're like a big fan of Georgette Heyer's books, you know what Nankin trousers are. They were frequently worn by men in the 18th and early 19th centuries. And later on, that cloth evolved into what we know as khaki.
Oh, the khaki cloth.
Khakis, right?
Oh, yeah.
So people started calling the bantams both Nankin and Nankin. But in the 20th century, I think I think people stopped calling them Nankin except me and went to Nankin. So they're universally known as the Nankin Bantam.
I think at some point they could transfer their name to the napkin because they're talking about cotton fabric and all this other stuff. So they could be
way
napkins.
To bring that back around. I applaud that. Well done with that little circle there.
Circle of cotton. Ta-da!
Circle of cotton. It's completely upcycled and recyclable. So the Reverend Edmund Dixon, who we privately call that old windbag, writing in the mid-1800s, had surprising praise for the Nankins because he was Edmund Dixon's an interesting character. He called the Nankin the most useful of their type, meaning bantams. And he pointed out that they are beautiful birds. He's correct there. They're not fancy, but they're very pretty.
Yeah.
He reported that the Nankin hens are great mothers of chicks, but also of partridges, pheasants, and guineas, though he tempered his praise a little bit and said that they're probably a little too strong-minded. They have a will of their own.
I mean, well, Martha did sit on her own eggs and raise those chickens, and she did a good job.
She did, yeah, she did. Now, there's apparently some evidence that Nankins are one of the foundation breeds used by Sir John Seabright to develop the beautiful Seabright Bantam. Oh,
don't start me on that man again. Woo!
John Seabright, he's really interesting. I think you could write a whole book about him. He is a much more interesting, I'm not going to say he wasn't diabolical in his own ways, but
yeah,
he's a much more interesting person than Edmund Dixon. If you're going to do, 19th century British poultry historians.
I mean, he's one of the only people that could breed broody out of a bantam.
Yeah, interesting how that happened.
Yeah.
The Nankin in U.S. history is not well documented, unfortunately. And for a couple of reasons. One, because poultry was very rarely considered important enough to document in great numbers. And also because a lot of bantam breeding was done by ladies, because bantams were considered more genteel than full-size poultry.
I would have been carrying around a big old chicken of fluff.
Sitting there with a giant,
out of my way.
Giant Coach and Rule in my lap for Brahmas. There are mentions of Nankins here and there in colonial and early America, like they appeared in a newspaper article in 1799 and again in 1899. But at some point in the 20th century, the Nankin Bantam faded into obscurity. The late Mark Fields, who was a noted Bantam breeder, he has a difficult to find but very good book on Nankins where he traces their time in the U.S. So that starts in like the early 20th century.
Okay.
By the 1950s, the Nankin was presumed to be extinct in the U.S. and was very, very rare in the U.K. So 1950s, you're talking 70-some years ago, right?
Oh,
Not that long.
You're talking the 50s and the 80s, the time of convenience, and nobody's looking at the land and seeing what we can do.
In the 1960s, a handful of breeders worked to have Nankins imported to the U.S. from the U.K. One of these people who worked for the importing her name was Lenore Herring, and she is well known among poultry historians for her meticulous research and for the poultry library she amassed during her lifetime. The current U.S. Nankin flocks spring from these later imports, most in the 1960s. This ancient breed of tiny chicken, though they have been around for centuries, was not accepted by the APA until 2012.
Boo hiss. They should have been accepted a long time ago.
I don't know. We give the APA heat for a lot of things. Some of it's fair, like women not being allowed in the APA until the 60s. And some of it's probably unfair because I'm sure they did their best.
2012? This chicken's been around for hundreds of years. Come
it has,
on.
yeah. Yeah, and was probably in colonial America. But, if people aren't interested in it,
Exactly.
It's easily forgotten.
Hey, I just remember going to the Ohio National and seeing chicken after chicken that was a New Hampshire red bantam.
New Hampshire red bantams everywhere.
What?
But there were some Nankin people at the Ohio National, so they're Nankins.
We did see them, but I mean, the number of people that we saw that had New Hampshire red bantams, I never even knew existed that many.
There's like whole rows of them.
It's like, okay.
We know that Nankins were important in early America. The hens were often referred to as natural incubators, so their usefulness is well established. But, I mean, if you're looking at it honestly, bantams tend to be less than practical. It's not the same as a standard dual-purpose bird. So, again, they tended to be kept by the wealthy. It was often the ladies of the house that had their bantams.
I mean, back in the day, there was something to be said for a broody hen. They did mean a lot because we didn't have electricity and
that's right.
Incubators, and we didn't have that stuff.
Right.
No incubators.
So that fact, the fact that they were viewed as less than practical, and for many of other reasons we've mentioned many times, by the end of the Second World War, Nankin numbers had dwindled to the point that they were believed extinct. Again, U.S. breeders imported Nankin eggs from the U.K. in 1963, and it was that importation that launched that second wave of American Nankin breeders.
Okay, so the Nankin does come in both straight and rose comb variety. So either that you like, you can, I mean, they're hard to find. So you kind of like, you get what you get. If you get the rose comb or the straight comb.
Yeah.
And they're both accepted by the APA and the standard of perfection. So these Nankins were called the yellow bantams for a good reason. The hens are a lovely buff to light chestnut color with black in their tails. And seeing yours, they are so cute. They're really really cute. And the roos are a deep chestnut with beautiful beetle green black tail outlined in chestnut. Now, that's if you listen to that, that's really cool.
They're not like the fanciest birds out there, but their coloring is pretty. And like you said, they're so stinking cute.
They are. And both sexes have those slate blue legs. I love slate blue legs. The blue stands out well in contrast to the buff and the chestnut feathers and makes for, like a brightly colored chicken, for your pictures. They're really cool. When I come to your house, I love getting pictures of them. They're really cute. They're really cute. So they do have small white earlobes and moderately sized combs and wattles on the roos. Tiny dainty ones on those hens.
Yeah, I can't tell you, they're so stinking adorable.
I mean, when we go into the size, you'll see why we're saying dainty. Now they have an upright tail and a bright and curious expression. George, he is always one to make me laugh. He looks, whenever he's looking around or does his
he's always got one eye on you, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or you're like, whenever we're talking, where you're like, I'm going to pick you up.
Yeah. I haven't had to pick him up in a while. He went through his, year and a half of hormone wildness, and then he settled right down. Nankins just in general are sweet birds.
Yeah, and they're very tiny birds at that. They're really small. So let's look at the weights. Hens weigh in at about 1.6 pounds and roos at about 1.8 pounds. So we're looking less than 2 pounds for your Nankin napkin.
Just anecdotally, I recently was reading a thread in one of the Nankin breeders groups, and someone was saying that they believe that the rose comb stock in the U.S. tends to be a little bit of a bigger bird than the straight comb stock.
Oh, okay.
My straight comb Nankins are quite small. I have seen some
They're
bigger.
tiny.
Yeah, but I think this is my opinion. I think the tinier ones are more in line with the standard of perfection. So I think even if I had the chance to get rose comb, I might stay with my straight because I think the size is correct.
Oh, okay. So you would never get a rose comb.
Is that what I said? I said never, ever, never. I'm just
We
saying.
know how never, ever, ever goes with you.
Never, ever kind of isn't really in my language because it gets
No,
changed.
it does. It does.
What did
Okay.
Ben Franklin say? Only the dead and the foolish alone do not change their opinion.
Now, the Nankin heads are fairly good layers, probably the best among the true bantams. So you can have a lot of appetizers with those eggs.
Yes, you can. You
They're
can.
really good. They can average 3 to 4 eggs a week when they're young, and the eggs are a white cream color and a surprisingly big yolk to white ratio, which we know would make them good if you're making a tiny cake or tiny cupcake.
You know, in my house, they're most often like fried egg sandwiches.
That or they're a perfect size for that. I like them on top of a burger because they're perfect. They're not too big.
Like regular burgers, sliders, any place where you want some cuteness added. Like I know a lot of people love the cute quail eggs, but I will take my bantam eggs every day of the week.
I just think it's funny because if you think, oh, you're going to make a tiny cupcake, you need a tiny egg, but that's not really the case. It's
No,
just,
not really.
that was funny. So as we mentioned earlier, hens are known to be excellent mothers. Martha Holly Ann's was a mom a few years ago, and we did put up the cutest little videos of her with those babies.
That was an unplanned pregnancy, but it ended very well.
It did end well. They're definitely prone to go broody because they're a bantam, and everybody but the sea bright goes broody.
Right. I mean, the Nankins will hatch any egg that you put under them, unless she can't cover it, but they pancake really well. Martha especially, but Nankin hens pancake really well. They spread out like, you wouldn't believe how wide they get when they spread out.
When we were going through pictures of the book, the one that did make it in, and it's Martha Broody.
Yes.
Every time Holly would laugh at that picture. And we would see that picture. Like every day we did pictures, for some reason it was in the rotation of pictures we were looking at.
And I would still laugh at it because it makes me happy. I love that photo. So buy the book and you can be happy too, looking at Martha going broody.
Now, broody abilities aside, Nankins are very practical little chickens. Because they're smaller, they take a little bit less feed. They're very chatty, they're friendly, they're excellent pets and companions. Like I said, they're purse chickens. They're ones that you could carry around with you everywhere you go. No one would even know you have them. Unless they make sounds.
I mean, they're so cute. I was laughing. I was looking at some stuff, some new spring fashion in a catalog the other day, and I came across some women's bags, and they had the concealed carry label, for firearms. But my brain was like, can you conceal a chicken in there?
I mean, the bantam would be the perfect companion chicken to take on an airplane with you.
Oh my God,
you wouldn't have to buy
tiny.
An extra seat or anything. They would just sit with you.
Who could get mad with their tiny, adorable little faces? They love helping in the garden. They really do. They absolutely love to be with you and helping in the garden. But they fly really well, so be cautious if you free range them. They do best, if you're going to free range, they do best, obviously supervised, but in some place with lots and lots of cover, so they can duck under and away from anything that threatens them.
Oh, definitely.
Did we talk about showbirds? Because they're fantastic showbirds, and if you keep bantams, I don't know why you don't have a Nankin yet, because they're just so amazing.
The other thing we've said multiple times, but it's best to say it again because it's important. They're great for people who have limited space because they're smaller. You want to give them a nice big space, but they can take a smaller space because of their size ratio to where they are. It's going to feel bigger to them.
If you do an aviary style run, which is a standalone coop and, very secure run with a top built around them, because they fly so well, you can do a lot to give them more vertical space for enrichment. They like perches. They like flying up and down on perches. Mine have an omelet in there with them, which means George spends a lot of time on top of the coop because he likes to be up high. So there are a lot of things you can do.
I was just going to mention like the omelet coop with the run that sits off the front like I use for Little Man. That coop is good for them too, because for them it feels taller,
Right.
because they're so little. So
That's
if
true.
that's what you can do, then that would be a good option for these birds too.
For sure. I mean, they lay well when they're young. I mean, Martha's what's Martha, 5 now?
Wow.
Maybe she's 4. But anyway, she still lays. Abigail Adams lays really well. If I lived in, let's say I lived in the city and I wanted to have some food security and I wanted some fresh eggs in a garden, I would do that omelet setup and have
Exactly.
Nankins every day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, because they're really good layers and that's what you need them for, and they're good for companionship. Now, these birds are under 2 pounds. They need protection against the cold, so you're going to need to make provisions with panel heaters and those types of things. They're going to do better in the heat than a big fluffy chicken, of course.
Well, this is
But
another reason that they,
they need
became endangered.
fans.
Yeah. I mean, they need all the things. In colonial America, they lost a lot of bantams to cold. They had a lot of birds die from hypothermia.
I mean, the small ones, they don't have a lot of body mass, so they
No.
need assistance, so these in
One of
both ways.
Right. One of the things I love about Nankins is that the roosters are so friendly and affectionate. It is if you want to breed them, it is very easy, one, to sell any hens you breed. But if you can't get rid of the boys, and let's face it, a lot of those boys are a rich repository of important DNA, you can make a small bantam flock for them and they will be happy as larks.
You have them in an omelet freestanding run with the omelet coop, and it works really well.
And they're one of my favorite runs on this whole place to visit because they're all friendly. They want to fly up and snuggle with you, and they're just wonderful little boys.
Yeah. So here's the $1 million question, and this one is a $1 million question. Where do you find the Nankin if you want them and you want to help conservation like Holly Ann is doing with it?
Don't come to me for them because I got nothing for you right now. I need more hens. So they are still not easy enough to get your hands on. Sometimes you'll find them at commercial hatcheries, but that's much more rare. Private breeders are probably your best bet. And you want to do your homework on this because you don't want to buy birds, that have not come from a good environment. Check the Livestock Conservancy's website. But honestly, I think your best bet is to join one of the active Nankin Facebook groups. The Nankin Group of America Facebook group is run by Lisa Post, and Lisa is the breeder who sold me Georgia Martha. Remember we drove up there?
Yeah, we did. Road trip.
And as of summer of 2024, the Nankin Club of America has reformed and is accepting members. So, like I said, those Facebook groups, those people are super helpful. They'll ship you hatching eggs. They'll give you advice. They're really great. If you're in the UK, it looks like private breeders are also your best source. And I would just do a Google search for your area and, see what you can come up with.
So go help the Nankin and get yourself one.
You're so stinking cute.
Find one.
Jeanette Behringer, she bred Nankins early on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We were talking to her about it, I think, on the show at one point.
Probably. So there we go. The addictingly adorable Nankin Bantam.
Are you ready to dive into the fascinating world of backyard ducks? Look no further than Metzer Farms, your premier destination for top quality waterfowl. Whether you're a seasoned breeder or just starting out, Metzer Farms has everything you need to elevate your flock to the next level. And if you're passionate about call ducks, you're in for a treat.
Metzer Farms hatches a stunning variety of call ducks, meticulously bred for their miniature size, beauty, and calm temperament. From snowy whites to vibrant colors, each duck is a masterpiece waiting to grace your backyard. Visit MetzerFarms.com today to browse their extensive selection and start your journey into the wonderful world of waterfowl. Metzer Farms, where passion meets perfection.
If you're looking for a chicken coop that's produced in a planet-friendly, sustainable way, try Nestera.
Each coop is made from highly durable, 100% recycled plastic that keeps the equivalent of up to 2,000 shampoo bottles out of a landfill.
Their clean, modern design will fit into any garden or run area and comes with an industry-beating 25-year warranty and a range of handy accessories.
Simple to put together, so quick and easy to clean, and most importantly, red mite resistant. Your chickens will love it.
Quick shipping from Nestera.us.
For a 5% discount, use the affiliate link in our show notes, on our website, and on Instagram. Link in bio. Check them out today.
Eaton Pet and Pasture is a farmer-owned company based in upstate New York that creates USA-made, sustainable products for backyard chicken keepers.
From low dust hemp bedding and comfy aspen nesting pads to nutritious treats and odor eliminating products, everything is designed to keep your coop clean, healthy, and smelling egg-tastic.
All their products are made right here in the USA with ingredients that are safe for your flock and the planet. So whether you're doing a deep clean or just a quick refresh, Eaton makes it simple to care for your coop the natural way.
They're your one-stop shop for coop freshness and flock happiness, made easy.
Visit EatonPetAndPasture.com to explore the full line of flock favorites and use the code COFFEE at checkout for a first-time purchase discount. Okay, so are we ready to move on to main topic? Yeah!
Yeah.
This week's main topic was kind of pushed back a week because we had to put another main topic in. We said we were going to do it, but we're doing it for real right now, and it's those darned feather pluckers in your flock. And everybody's got somebody that does it.
I've got some feather pluckers. Well, actually, as we get into this, Armani is my worst feather plucker. So he does it in the process of doing rooster things, but still, it's still troublesome. So how to identify feather pluck? I can't even say it. It's like a tongue twister. How to identify feather plucking.
I'm going to tell you how to identify a feather plucker. When it's super cold, bring your chickens in with heaters and put them in your garage in pop-ups, and then you'll find out who is your feather plucker.
Well,
That's how you find out.
Well, I'm not even talking about how to identify the feather plucker themselves, but what does it look like on your chicken when their feathers are being plucked?
Now, we have had so many questions regarding this lately.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah.
That's why we decided to talk about this as a main topic, because over on social media, I'm looking at the pictures and I've been there. I have feather pluckers, and it's very easy to identify, okay, this is not a mite problem. This is not, a different kind of feather problem. This is someone's eating those feathers. And generally what happens is you'll notice they start from behind, because that's easy to get.
Or the head and neck. Mm-hmm.
Right. A lot of the pictures I'm getting, it's like my own chickens look like that. Like the top layer of feathers are half eaten off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what they can get quick.
A lot of it's around the vent area, right?
The vent and then the top of the tail, like right there. And it's usually, I think they get the neck and around there when they're sleeping and stuff.
Oh, that's definitely on the roost. I think that's definitely on the roosts.
I've seen Spicy just let Basil, the Andalusian, she was standing still and she was just plucking out of her neck. And I'm like, why are you standing still for this?
Jeez.
I'm like, this is not a good thing to happen. Don't stand still.
So essentially, like defoliated feather shafts or broken feathers, chewed up looking tails and naked vent areas when there's no good reason to have a naked vent.
And everybody thinks it's mites first off. And the reason I can look at it and know that it's not is because my own chickens do this. And chickens generally will eat half the feather and they'll leave the other half.
So there is a feather chewing louse. And the easiest way to identify that is to wait until it's after dark and your chickens are on the roost, put on a headlamp, get in there and check all around in their feathers, especially around the vent, neck, and under the wings. But the feather chewing lice, they don't generally break the shaft like you're talking about. You just get really chewed up looking feathers.
The feathers on the ends, they'll look like they've been a feather on that chicken for 16 years.
Like someone has cut the end off of it. Like the shaft itself is usually broken.
When the chickens are chewing
When the chickens are doing it, right.
Oh,
versus the louse, and the louse just kind of eats all the little feather bits, but
it's
can't
like they grab
impact the shaft.
They bend it, and then it breaks off, and then they eat it. And I've witnessed them doing it. And they're generally they're chickens that are more intelligent that get bored.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about reasons why chickens might pluck feathers. And you just hit the first one right there. Boredom is huge.
Heck yeah. They're too smart for their own good, and they get bored. And they're like, what can I do?
Right.
So keeping the run, open with, like you said, roost, using all your vertical space, giving them stuff to play around with in there.
Right. Enrichment things like, treat feeders that they really like, maybe suet blocks, hanging vegetables are really good for that kind of thing. And also some places for the people who are being plucked to escape to.
And the good example of a chicken that will do it because of boredom is a Mediterranean class chicken.
Mm-hmm.
They're so smart and they get bored so easily, and that's how they turn to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Nutritional deficiencies is another legitimate reason for feather plucking. Sometimes there won't be plucking, but you'll just see them eating feathers. That's often because they're low in protein. It's a behavior you often observe in quick-growing adolescent chicks.
Yeah,
like
also calcium.
Mm-hmm. So nutritional deficiency is a big thing. If you suspect nutritional deficiencies, there are some good vitamin and mineral additives for the water. If you suspect a serious deficiency, polyvisol is your way to go.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to mites, because yes, mites can cause the feathers to come out. They might actually, cause them to be deficient in nutrients because they're stealing everything. Think about this. They are a parasite, right? So they want to keep the host alive, but they steal the nutrients from the host. So they might have mites and be eating somebody else's feathers to get more protein and calcium.
The other place I've seen it is that Casper, my Swedish flower roo, he had gotten some mites, and a lot of them were around his neck and head.
Was he getting groomed by the hens?
The hens were trying. I think they were trying to grab the mites off of him, but he had like a naked ruff around his neck where they were actually eating feathers because they were trying to get the mites off. I mean, and once we took care of the mites, it was not, his feathers grew back in. It was no problem. But I was like, oh, look, I think they're literally pulling his feathers out, trying to clean him.
Those hens. Those hens. They think they're helping. Now, the other thing, speaking of roosters, is damage from mating. And that's a different problem. They're not pulling them out on purpose.
Right.
And putting a saddle on your hen can help that for sure.
Where you really see broken feathers on a hen, and it's not the same as feather plucking, even though it's not like it's feather plucking because, the rooster's trying to get busy, but he will pluck feathers out of their face and head, sometimes trying to hold on.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different story than someone actually plucking. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So what can cause it besides these things? Pecking order fights. Mm-hmm. They're fighting. They're doing anything they can get their beak on. They're pulling the feathers.
Yeah. They bite, they pull. So not enough space is another. If people are cooped up, pardon the pun, if people are cooped up, they just can get aggressive. They can start pulling feathers out. They can start plucking feathers out of the backside like you had. Mm-hmm. That little devil.
This question has multiple answers. When will your hen regrow her feathers? Because sometimes I have seen them instantly regrow them. And then other times they had to wait all the way until the molt. I've had both scenarios happen. I do not know why or how.
I don't know either. I mean, I suppose you could probably get really scientific and observe this and figure out like maybe certain feathers don't grow back at all until the molt. But I've seen girls regrow back feathers and other girls not. Either. Yeah. The reason is we don't know because it depends on your bird.
We don't know. We don't know on that one. Okay. How to stop feather plucking?
Well, you can remove the plucker if you know who she is. In Chrissy's case,
plucker.
It was in Chrissy's case. It was, and she is one of my favorite of Chrissy's chickens. That was little Lucy the Leghorn who was plucking.
And the problem was we had 2 months of 0 degrees here. Mm-hmm. So in the end, the culprit got a better scenario because she had to be separated from the pop-up with everybody. And I felt bad for her. So instead of having her in a pop-up all day by herself, she got to walk the garage and be out.
Rewarded for bad behavior.
Well, she was.
I mean, if you can figure out who the feather plucker is, and again, she's a chicken. You're not punishing her. No punitive actions against your chickens. If you need to move a plucker someplace else, do it. But generally, as long as there's enough food and water stations, there's enough enrichment in places for people to get out of the way, and as long as they're getting all their nutrients, that should stop plucking for the most part.
And sometimes you do have to sit quietly and just watch for like half an hour to figure out who it is.
Observation is your number one tool in becoming a better chicken keeper.
So she did it last winter, and I didn't catch who was doing it.
Yeah,
And
you were blaming the Andalusians.
I had bald back chickens for months after that, right? This time I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here. And I said, oh, I cannot believe it was Lucy. But I watched her pull and eat. And I'm like, and then sometimes she just pull and dump. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Little Lou.
Oh, yeah. She was like, I'm going to get these chickens.
I'm bored in here. What do you want? These girls, they get on my nerves.
So there you go. If you're having issues with feathers, send those pictures over because it's really easy for us to look at them and say, that's a feather plucker from your flock, or that might be something else. If we know what it looks like.
I mean, if it's rooster damages, you know, I hate to say separate your rooster from his ladies because that stresses all of them involved.
Yeah.
You can give it time and let it, let him settle, his hormones settle down and it will get better. Or you can give him more hens because then he has to spread the love around.
I got lucky. Little man, he's a gentle lover, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh my God. I don't even know if he's a lover. I don't know. He's just kind of like...
to incubate his eggs. I don't know if we get babies.
We don't know if there's any viable eggs there.
I don't know. But I'm like, he's a gentle lover. I was like, how did I get so lucky?
I don't know if he's getting the job done, though.
Who knows?
He's very handsome and he's very sweet, so.
He's a mama's boy through and through.
If your flock could talk, they would thank you for shopping at Eaton Pet and Pasture, your one-stop shop for coop freshness and flock happiness made easy.
From their all-natural USA-made favorites like hemp bedding, roost refresh, and nesting pads to convenient product bundles that make chicken care simple, Eaton has everything you need to keep your coop clean, cozy, and odor-free.
Check them out at EatonPetAndPasture.com and use code COFFEE at checkout for a first-time purchase discount.
Okay, so are we ready to move on to
cracking eggs?
Cracking those eggs. Now, Holly was feeling like baking a cake, so...
The Kosmala household wanted to separate the end of sheep shearing season. So this recipe was the result. It started out as one of those, use what you have in the pantry cakes. But somewhere along the line, it transformed. And I've got to tell you, this is one of the most delicious cakes that we've had in a while. This cake is really, really good.
You say that about all the cake.
I may. So, okay, this is this week's most delicious cake. What do you want? Next week, there's going to be a really, really, really delicious one again. What do you want?
It's the truth. It's the truth. Okay, so let's go through the ingredients of the utmost delicious cake this week.
Ever this week.
Ever this week. We have 3 medium sweet tart apples, 1 cup of raisins or golden raisins.
Because that's what I had in the pantry.
Oh, when I want to be fancy, I use golden raisins for everything. It's like a step up. It's a step up.
Ooh, she got the fancy raisins.
She got the fancy raisins. Okay, 2.5. Oh, wait, I almost forgot a generous splash of rum.
Yeah.
How could I almost go past that?
I don't know. How could you?
That's probably the best ingredient. This is after you eat the cake.
That's why this cake is really, really good this week.
You eat this cake, you're like, oh, God, this is the best cake
I said
ever.
splash of rum. I didn't say the whole bottle.
You could be generous.
A splash for me and a splash for you.
2.5 cups of all-purpose flour or gluten-free flour, 1:1. 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar packed, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 3/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract from Mexico. I'm going soon, so
yeah, I need another bottle. Mama needs more vanilla.
A cup of vegetable oil, 1 cup of milk or dairy-free milk, 2 chicken or duck eggs at room temperature, and 1 goose egg if you have it.
If you wanted to do a goose egg, you'd probably have to beat it and measure out however many grams 2 eggs is, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but you wouldn't be able to use the whole goose egg.
So don't use a goose egg if you want a lot of work. Just use chicken or duck eggs.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, if all you have is goose eggs, then figure it out. But otherwise, keep it easy.
Yeah.
You're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Spray or grease a bundt pan and set it aside. Peel, core, and dice your apples. You don't have to peel them if you don't want to. It's up to you. And set them aside.
I was always taught to eat my apple peels because that's where all the nutrients are.
That's not true, but there's a lot of really good fiber in there. So, no, you're going to pick through the raisins to remove any gross ones. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person that does that, but I don't trust that box of raisins. Pick out any stems, put the raisins in a bowl, and pour that splash of rum over top and set that aside.
Add an extra splash of rum if you're feeling like you want some.
Take a few splashes of rum for yourself. Add the dry ingredients to a large mixing bowl and whisk them until well blended. Then you're going to add your wet ingredients, which essentially is the vanilla, the oil, the milk, and the eggs. And using a hand or stand mixer, mix all the ingredients together until they're thoroughly combined. You probably have to stop and scrape down the sides of the bowl a few times and really get all the stuff on the bottom of the bowl because it's a lot of batter. So you just need to make sure it's thoroughly mixed.
Well, if you're using a bundt pan, they take a lot of batter.
They do take a lot of batter, yeah. Using a wide spatula, you're going to stir in the apples and the raisins and any of the rum that is left in the bowl. Pour your batter into that greased bundt pan. Pop it in the 350-degree oven. You're going to bake it for just about an hour or until cake tester comes out clean. This cake is ridiculously delicious on its own, but you can also glaze it with a simple powdered sugar glaze, or you could sprinkle the top with powdered sugar, whatever works for you. You can actually, the other thing you could do, and I thought would be really good, is add maybe walnuts or pecans to it.
Oh, yeah. I always put a nut and a raisin together.
Nut and a raisin. Well, the golden raisins are sweet. Those golden raisins were left over from some recipe that we made. I can't even remember what it was.
Hashtag couple goals, nut and a raisin.
Okay. Well, put some nuts in there with your raisins. You'll be golden.
Yeah, they'll be happy.
Serve and enjoy this delicious, delicious cake.
When you coming over?
Oh, when am I coming over? I'll make another one.
Try it. You might like it. You might think it's the best cake you've ever tasted in your life this week. Let us know. Send pictures. Okay, so let's move on to retail therapy. Retail therapy. Yeah. This week's retail therapy actually was not planned to be in here as a thing, but it's poultry napkin rings.
Poultry napkin rings. I mean, we were supposed to do that actually for Easter, I think, and we ended up.
But it goes with the napkin chicken instead.
Oh, look at you making more connections. Napkin rings and the Nankin napkin chicken. Yeah.
Napkin chicken. Now, I don't know, but it's an instant fancy to your table.
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
When you add
fun.
napkin rings. And it's so fun.
We have found, I think we have talked about it before, but I was going to say we have found a ton of poultry napkin rings in thrift shops over the years. I mean, a lot.
I'm talking a ton. But there's so many, and we're talking about it now because the spring, if you want, and it pulled right up 9 vintage napkin ring holders that are chicks. If you want anything chick, this is a time of the year to get it anywhere. It doesn't have to be vintage at this point.
Because of Easter. Mm-hmm.
If you go to Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, all of those sections, you can probably find a nice little set. But if you want vintage, Etsy, eBay, all the normal places.
And the thrift shops. I've gotten so many. I mean, I've gotten duck and goose too, but I've gotten so many chicken napkin rings over the years just in the thrift shop. It's crazy.
Now, I tend to use my napkin rings anywhere that I have a setting that's just set up for anything. I have a tiered cupcake platter or just a tiered cake platter or plate platter. And Holly Ann got me, I think it was last year for Christmas, Fitz and Floyd hen napkin rings.
That might have been last year. They're very elaborate napkin rings.
They never leave my dining room. They're always out for display. So they're on the cake stands along with some greenery and just showing them off that way with, of course, a gingham napkin. And I always say, if you use poultry, the gingham in all colors is your friend. It goes with it. It's farmy.
It's perfect. Yeah. Gingham says country. Always has, always will.
Yeah. And if you just Google, I just did Poultry Napkin Rings vintage. I mean, you can get 12 vintage pewter chicken rooster napkin rings for $30. That's not terrible because
it's not
that's
terrible.
a little bit, that's an investment for your tablescapes. You're going to always be able to use them, whatever you want to use it for,
There's a very classic vintage set out there. I believe it's pewter. And it's got 2 pigs, 2 ducks, 2 roosters, and 2 of something else, but I can't remember what the other one is. Anyway, I've got a couple sets of them that I've just found in thrift shops over the years.
I mean, there's so many. And you know where, when you're in a thrift store, I never miss the section of the bags, the little bags that have stuff in them.
Stuff in them, because that's often where you find the napkin rings. It's true.
On the wall, and usually they list like, okay, home stuff, stationery, and everything they don't know what the heck to do with. They put in these bags and then they charge you like $3 a bag or whatever. Check those. That's where I found all my napkin rings.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
And mix and match. I think the best set is a mix and match. If you find one, buy it. You find a different chicken, buy it, and then make them all like an elaborate little like set together for your tablescape.
You could have mismatched settings that you put together by color or something like that. You could have a lot of fun with it. I've got a single goose.
Yeah.
And a couple of single ducks that don't match each other, but they're perfect for doing a table where I just want like white accents.
Yeah, or even if you're doing, I was thinking like a deck happy hour for drink napkins, you can put them next to the drinks so people can, carry them. But use them. Elevate that table setting instantly with just a napkin holder, with a napkin.
And there's some of the cheaper vintage things that you can buy.
Oh, and they're easy to store because they're small.
Yep.
So you can get 1,000 of them.
Easily.
Yeah. Okay, so shall we tell everybody what we're going to be talking about next week?
Next week, okay, we're staying with Bantams next week, and this was a listener request. One of our listeners that follows us on YouTube asked that we do an update on the Pinchin Bantam, so we will do that.
Oh, sounds good.
Main topic, also a listener request. We're doing who, what, where, why, and how to add a rooster to your flock.
Thank you to Jennifer Ledford, who she's requesting that main topic over on Insta.
Cracking the eggs. We're getting a little crazy. We're doing some dandelion fritters.
That is a little crazy.
A little crazy, but whatever. It'll be interesting and fun. And who doesn't have dandelions?
Yeah.
And then the seed spotlight in honor of the demise of your garden is kale.
The dark squirrel will strike again. We're going to plant some more kale so that the dark squirrel can come. I can just imagine that squirrel sitting there eating all that kale.
Kale. Oh, they bring me more kale. Yeah.
No. Okay, so what should we tell everybody to do until next week?
Hug your chickens, ducks, and geese every day.
And kiss them too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
If you'd like to see more of us, please follow us on Instagram at Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. If you'd like to help us grow the podcast, please leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. Thanks for listening.